I'm very excited about the fourth board goal about strengthening community and family interactions and relationships. And I want to share with you one of the stories that I did as a teacher that was kind of along those lines. And in this particular case, it was primarily about student motivation. I've always felt that education really is like a three-legged stool. That is to say that there are three parts to it that are all absolutely essential, and without any one of them, the stool isn't going to work very well. The three legs being the school, as primarily represented by the teachers, but not solely. Certainly the administration, the environment, and a whole host of other factors about the school come into play there. The second is the student, him or herself. Um, Without them being involved in the process, there isn't going to be a whole lot of learning going on. And the third is the family. And I've always felt that their role was an important one too, although perhaps a little bit less obvious. So let me share with you a story that when I was teaching general chemistry, which is our lower level chemistry group, I would always try and get together with all of the parents pretty much in the first couple of weeks of school. So I had the students arrange a meeting, and I was willing to meet anywhere in their students' home, at church, at a coffee shop, wherever. But I wanted to meet with the parents long before there was any opportunity to say how good or how poorly the student was doing. And the reason for that is I wanted to establish the ground rules of our relationship as that three-legged stool. And so I would get together and I'd say, here, I want to give you an analogy. My job is to pretty much that I'm a vegetable chef. I have to prepare a host of vegetables in various and exciting ways. Your child's job as a student is to eat the vegetables. And your job is pretty much to be the boss. Your job is to say, is Doc K preparing vegetables in a way that is enticing and useful to my child? And if you don't feel that I'm doing that, you have to let me know. And you have to say, look at your child and say, is my child eating those vegetables? And if the answer that you come up with is no, then you have to make sure that the child eats those vegetables. So to translate out of the analogy, I needed the parent to be our boss, to basically say, look, I'm not happy with how my child is doing in your class. Let's talk and figure out where the problem is and fix it. Um, Most of my parents were very receptive to this sort of discussion, although I'm not certain that it had a great impact on everybody. Certainly, some of the parents were very happy to engage me during the course of the year and ask questions and offer comments. Some I never heard from again. And when I had to do the opposite, where I had to get in touch with them because I was a little bit unhappy with how things were progressing, I would often see some progress from the student for a little while, but it was often short-lived. I think this mostly speaks to the role of the family and motivation of students. We would all love our students to be internally motivated by their love for the subject matter of the course, and that certainly does happen. I was fortunate enough to enjoy most of my classes except for stuff like French and English classes. Um, but when you're not internally motivated, and let's face it, most of us are, after all, if we were entirely internally motivated, would I be a teacher without getting paid? And the answer is probably not. At the very least, I have to get paid, and so there's some amount of external motivation. So where does that external motivation come from for the students in the classroom? And oftentimes it comes from the parent. I can only do so much to, like I say, make my vegetables nice and tasty. But if the student isn't motivated to eat it, it isn't going to get eaten. So that's one of my perspectives on uh, the need and the power and the value of having empowered families as part of our educational process. That I can't in the classroom uh, um, accomplish everything I need to for all students without the family's help. So